Hi, and welcome to the Paper Garden, the creative corner of Grace and Grains. My name is Rhonda. Welcome to day 2. Yesterday we made this lovely little card with a sweet cherub, a little cluster, and a little bit of bling that I can pass on as a Valentine's Day card. Today we're going to start into day 2. I'm doing a series of 14 days of Valentine Day cards with the host is Creating with Jovi, who has offered me a couple of her digital kits. Today's kit is called Love is in the Air. It has these really soft blue colors mixed with these bright pinks and some lavender that are just beautiful. So I'll be working this in my kit today. I have this offer here, or they're showing this page here, because what I learned and I shared yesterday of how different the wrong paper can be. This is some inexpensive paper and this is more of a premium paper. And I've been sharing that just to show how different your paper can be when you print it out. But these are just so pretty, and just I love the sweet expressions on her face, and I do love butterflies as I am a gardener. The sweet little florals that come down through the side and the soft flowing of the bed reminds me of being in a Cinderella package. These couple pages were printed on more of a cardstock form that I'll be using for either tags or journaling cards, or additional ephemera to my cards for the day. I like how this has a beautiful flow of different options. The one I'll be using today is this one, which kind of reminds me of a tea party. And also you could always use that in the future for a tea party or Mother's Day card. Also, this one I think would be beautiful as someone's birthday card. Or this one, climbing the stairs to success, or for an achievement, or for promotion. So there's different uses. Because I'm not the actual creator of these forms, I can see them in so many different lights, of so many different options I can use them for. Love the hats. My mother was a hat model in her younger days, and so I love these big, beautiful hats. And the last piece I'll be using in my card today is going to be from the alternative set, which is called Victorian Valentines. And I've been using some of these pieces that I used yesterday in my card. But I'm going to be tearing out this little beautiful butterfly to use as an ephemera piece on the one I'll make today. Now, starting today, what I did when I originally started this project was I laid out my 14 cards, and I actually did a card for each day. So I would have something to go off of to make sure there weren't duplicates or things to keep your interest. I've created a card for each day, and this is what I'll be doing. This one has a sweet petal of these floral up in the top, a little bit of a belly band, some ephemera that I've pasted down here, and then of course using some vellum. Yesterday I showed how I use this vellum, of the best way to paste it down, and I'll share that again today. So I'm taking my first card, which is a basic card. I wanted to have this just as cardstock, which I've had for many years because I am a art craft collector, but I want to prevent from going into being a hoarder. So I try to use what I have when it comes in. However, I have been collecting crafts for a long time. So this is my basic card, and then I went through and found a lot of cardstock. Now, using a paper punch, I pretty much always just use this R7 mode. I like it. I've never really made cards before. My thing has been art journaling. However, I just started art journaling last August 14th to be exact. And in looking through YouTube videos, I found Jovi. Creating by Jovi. I'm going to use a little bit of Distress Oxide here to learn how to make these art journals. Now, I started with Franklin planners. I went on to Happy planners, always those type of things. But I really enjoyed this art journaling technique, and I really like the vintage style of what to do. When I fell into Created with Jovi, she was in a collaboration with Cindy A. Lewis, and they were doing 100 days of pockets. Now, I had just started my first art journal, so it was funny that all right, I'll do 100 days of pockets. I love a challenge. So I jumped right into that. And so what we do in art journaling a lot of times is everything gets distressed. Everything wants to have that little bit of an older look to it. So I cut these cards just a little bit shy of the actual full size. And then what I do is I take your basic Elmer's glue in a stick form. And you'll hear me pop it like that all the time because I do it on my thinner pieces, but it'll pop right up under your glue stick. And then eyeballing this down, maybe. Lay this down, and now we can go ahead and just plaster that down. In my very first cover piece, I'm going to use from the very first piece of the sheet of this design set of Love in the Air is I'm going to use this rose. Now what I like to do is I tear out the rose. But see, when you tear this way, the white part stays on the opposite part that I'm not using. So I'm actually going to tear the opposite way. So when I'm pulling it towards myself, it's going to leave that white binder on the white side, because that's where I go in and use my distress ink to give a little bit of a stressed look. I'll pull this out, and again, pulling it forward. I love these little tiny tasks like this. I do a lot of this work late at night watching TV. In fact, when those 100 Days of Pockets was out, I would get on and I would watch Jovi because she always posted everything at midnight. And I literally would stay up till midnight just to be that very first person to like her page. So I hope you like my pages, and I hope if you do that you would like and subscribe or tell a friend. I've now shared the 2 packages that I'll be using through Jovi, and if you'd like to go to her Etsy site, you too could print out the packages and then go along with me. I'll be sharing each day which page I'm using or which group, so you can be prepared. And then all you need are your basic items of a card, or if you want to take a card and fold it in half, glue sticks, and put the things together. So I'm going to take this little flower and lay it in there on the side. And then I wanted to have a little bit of scrap paper at the bottom. So this is from one of the pages of the Victorian Valentine Days. That is her other kit. And what I want to do is just kind of pull some of this out to create a little bit of a border. Oh, that's what I'll show too, if I didn't misplace it. Well, we'll just go ahead and we'll tear this one off. But I'm going to put this at the bottom of my page to add a little bit more color. I do a lot of ripping. I just like the ripping. In fact, I was looking into different ways to do art since I retired last year, of what could I do in my spare time. And my husband said, just find something fun. And I actually even considered doing some leather work. But leather work, you have to be so precise in the holes and things like that. And sewing, like, I don't want to be precise. I want to just lay it down. And that's what I've learned with the art journaling and with this. Now, as you can see, you've got this little page that's sticking up. I could tear that off. More than I thought I would. And I can go in with my little bit of distress ink and just kind of cover that up. Or a lot of times when a piece lifts up, I just take my art glue and lay it down underneath, and I would just glue that down. But I already pulled it out, so we're good. I'm going to put this across the front. Now this is what we call a belly band. I think maybe if you've had children, you may have wore a belly band. It kind of holds the belly up. And then what I like to do is I'm going to use some Tombow glue. It has a little bit more of a sticky adhesive to it to dry faster. And I'll put a little bit at each side and then lay this band right on top. And hold that down like that. So usually this is, whoop, got to pull it up a little bit to cover the bottom of that part. But this belly band is then where you can put something on the inside, and that's what we're going to do with this card. Okay, lay down, lay down. We'll use this one. All right, so this was my mistake. I didn't clear this out before I started today. There we go. Now, I have a question to ask you, and I would love your comments on this. So, I use one of these pins for inside these glues. Now, I know you're supposed to use stainless steel, but I don't really know what stainless steel pin is. But I can put it down, and I know it keeps it clear, but it seems to rust, and then the first dabs of glue that I pull out do turn black. So if you have a better suggestion, would you put it in the comments for me, please? Because I would really like to know. Again, since I'm fairly new at this, I'm willing to share this information of how to do these cards. But gosh, I really look at this as being like a teamwork where we can all learn from each other and do this type of work together. I think it is so much fun. And I do like taking my corners off, even though it does leave it a little bit off like that. Because I just like the softer edge to it. And when I'm working with softer petals or softer pictures, you know, these soft blue colors, even though they're printed out nice and vibrant, I just think everything looks so sweet. So I'm going to place that back, and see, that'll go right underneath this belly band. And that's a good way to hold like an additional card while this continues to dry. The last thing I'm going to do is put a little piece of ephemera here. So not ephemera, but vellum. So I made a lot of different scriptures. So my main page is actually Grace and Grains, and it's the grace of God through my garden, which I'll go into garden information here in the next couple of weeks as I get prepared for the spring. But I want to put in a little bit of God's word into any of my work, because it was through God that gave me the grace and gave me even the talent to do anything, and I want to give it back. And this one is Philippians 1:3. I thank my God every time I remember you. And I thought that would be a nice little piece of little message for this page, because I could send this to someone that I've had a tea party with or have had tea with. I remember when we had tea. Then something that I'd like to share too, and I left this here from yesterday so you can see the mess, but I wanted to show you how it dried. So I'm turning it upside down, and this is a silicone mat from Wilton. I'm also a chef and a baker. And you take a little bit of your Elmer's glue and squeeze it on. And then I used one of these hand dabbers, and I dab it and put it right into that Elmer's glue, taking it across the entire piece of vellum. And then as you can see, as it dries, I can just wash that right off my Wilton sheet. I'll take this and lay it right down at the bottom here. And then as you smooth it out, as you see, you're not getting any little plugs or dark marks from your glue that you attached it to. And the last little piece I'm going to put on was that little butterfly. I have in my garden, I planted so many flowers this year, and I can't wait for the butterflies. And I'm up in Northeast United States, and one of the birds that are the butterflies that come in our area are the monarch. And I look forward to trying to plant flowers to attract monarch this year, which are supposed to be absolutely beautiful. But it's anything that I can do to help in the world with birds, bees. So squish a little piece of glue on there. And then, as you can see, it has that little brown spot. I can cover that up and put it right there on top. And now that this is dry, I can cut that right off. And cut off this back piece so it's not hanging over. So I have just like this sweet little card with the belly band. I could use this as a little note for the back and keep it as it's still the Valentine Day special for it. I hope you like this card today. I really appreciate you being here. Again, I'm doing this with Creating by Jovi. And she also has a full design team, and I was fortunate to be one of them that's on the design team. And I'll list all their names below. And if you could reach out to their different channels, these will all be posted one each day for the next 14 days. This is my day 2, which was just a rose only card with a belly band. And then tomorrow I'm going to be doing another type of a card, going into tags. So this will be for tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be working out of the Victorian Valentine's Day kit. So join me tomorrow. But in the meantime, thanks for spending time in the paper garden, and I'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Have a great day.